what I was doing was daily fantasy football analytics. So pretty far from a football board game. So when FanDuel and DraftKings were big and I was in school for data analytics, I started putting together products and kind of marketing it on Twitter, getting people involved, just kind of as a trial business. And then the next year rolled around, and I kind of realized I'd started it up. I'd branded it FEETBALL Club, like you're watching football and you're playing football, so let's call it FEETBALL, plural of football in a way. And I was just thinking back to the last year of like how much work I put in to create a product that after 1 week was no good to anybody. And thinking that I just wasn't really, I'd been playing fantasy football for 10 years at that point. I got super into it and I was going deeper, and I just realized that I couldn't really keep it up, the passion for it. I just kind of wanted to not have to deal with drafts and lineups and the whole season-long league or even just the daily league. I just kind of wanted to have fun and find a way to do that. And so sort of out of all of that, my love for football, I love fantasy football, but it was getting a little too intense for me. So I just made this, I almost want to throw in a politics thing in there too. There's just way too much going on, way too much stuff I'm following. Everything's way too serious. Stakes are too high, and I'm like, let's just watch football and have a good time. So, kind of out of that, somehow a board game version. I'm not great with, programming and apps and all of that, and I wanted to kind of keep it a low-cost startup. And so, pretty much all last season, I took a hiatus from fantasy football and got together with some friends and family and just put a bunch of time making a bunch of different versions of this until we found something that worked.
Yeah, and it's a great concept. I've seen the demo and definitely going to be buying the game myself. But can you play this game? And for all the listeners, once again, we're talking to Jake Mulvaney, creator of FEETBALL game. And can you play this on any level of football?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we some of my friends and I were, just kind of figuring it out to just get the game to work in the first place. And then kind of while we're doing that, we're thinking of like, where can you play it? What sort of marketing? And my favorite marketing was, and I don't even remember what it's called. What is the mode where you just watch two Madden teams play each other? What is that called?
Simulation?
Simulation, yes. Our favorite marketing motto was gives the Madden simulation a purpose.
Which is true.
Because we were watching. We're all NFL fans here, and so that's most of what we were watching and playing some college games, and we're like, you could like watch a high school football game, like go down, watch like intramural flag football and play it, just like throwing out as much as we can, like NFL blitz, like, and that's when we came down like, yeah, you could like take this, people are playing Madden, and then you're sitting behind these guys playing Madden, and you're playing a game trying to guess what's going to happen in their game. It was like football, FEETBALL inception kind of thing.
Yeah, and it makes sense though. I mean, you can watch the simulation and especially when I used to play Madden, don't play it anymore, but especially doing those preseason games, which most of the time I just skipped over anyway. But that would be a perfect time to play this game. Is with those preseason games, you can kind of get through them without a hitch. You don't have to worry about actually playing. The games don't count anyway, so it's a perfect situation for that. I didn't even think about that. So, man, great idea.
Yeah, are you talking about like our current preseason football, like the game that was on Thursday night?
Well, I'm talking about on Madden. On Madden, you got the preseason part of the season on the game, but most of the time I would skip over those. But
yeah, it shows how long it's been since I played Madden. I don't even think there was a preseason at the time.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too. So that's one fond mememory I have from college.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of sums it up. I think I've marketed this kind of as like FEETBALL is like the NFL blitz to what like Madden is to fantasy football, kind of like that sort of correlation. Like it's related to football, but like in totally different ways. Like Madden tries to be like as close to the simulation as possible. like with fantasy football and like the daily stuff, the dynasty leagues, everything. Like you're trying to make things like as accurate as you can. And FEETBALL, one of the big turning points we threw in the audible card, which moved all up and down the field, where it was, how many there were, but we've got 2 of them on the 25-yard lines, and they're basically like chance cards, community chess, and Monopoly. So, like, I really wanted to gamify FEETBALL. Like, I was trying to get as far away from, like, simulating just play calling. Like, you know, you call a play, you get it right, you get points. You know, that's where it turned into, like, as you call plays, you move down the field like a football team, and you score points that way like a real football game. But then it's, like, not super serious. So, you know, you can pick up cards that'll, like, double or triple your yards. You'll let you play multiple cards, you know, like, move other people backyards, just, like, shake things up and, you know, kind of keep it more fun.
Yeah, definitely. And that kind of leads into the next question. What would be, I guess, the closest board game you would probably compare this to? And then what's really the objective in the game?
Oh my gosh! I got this board game listed up on BoardGameGeek.com recently, and because you know, I mean, I might as well have it up there. And I'm trying to pick, like, I'm looking through this huge list of like every possible board game, and I'm trying to categorize it, like, what's the play style? And I'm just like, card game / area movement, because like you technically move down a field. It's, you know, I mean, there's plenty of football board games out there where you don't involve you watching a football game. So, I mean, I guess in a lot of ways it's like that because you're trying to, you know, get the same objective. I'm sure those involve, like, field position like real football. This one you just kind of move from the 15 to the end zone or into field goal range, and then, you know, just you score and you start over, and, like, everyone's, you know, all 4 people simultaneously move down the field. So it's not really like any of those. It's really its own thing. You know, I've been trying for a year to figure out what this is like, and it's not really like anything. But it seems obvious. Like, it seems like it should exist, and now it does. Yeah,
and, you know, you've got a groundbreaking game that I've never seen before. So that is very, very, I think, important also for people that haven't seen the game before, but it's very interactive, you know, with watching the game and playing the game at the same time. And once again, this is Jake Mulvaney, of FEETBALL Game. That's FEETBALLGame.com. So how many players, this was one of the questions I had, how many players can play at one time?
The game comes with 4 teams, and it's kind of designed to be a 4-player game. I've personally got a couple extra teams here. The preseason special going on comes with an extra team. But we've had up to 5 people playing at a time. The cards kind of get a little bit thinned out with all the what you're holding in your hand, the draw and discard piles. You might be able to squeeze in 6 people if you really wanted. I've thought of kind of alternate rules where, like, 2 people play as a team and control 1 team on the field. Like, you could expand it to 8. These are all just crazy ideas in my head I'm working out, but basic answer, it's a 4-player game.
Okay, all right.
And those there's a thing my friend and I, TK, tried out. That's a shout out to Kevin France. He's been my top advisor this whole time. We weren't playing against anyone, but we were playing as a team. So we split up the cards by, he did, like, he was drawing from the run and pass pile, and then I was gaining from, like, the loss, no gain, gain pile. So, like, he had the red cards, I had the blue cards, and we were kind of like euchre almost in a way. Like, we're each, like, playing what we think will happen based on the best card in our hand. So, like, he might play a run, I might play a gain of 1 or more yards, and if it's a 3-yard run, then we just, you know, add the 2 and we move that way. So that's, we thought, was a good way of just kind of like mixing up the rules and like possibly getting, that's when we had 5 people. We're like, yeah, we could do this and have like 3 teams on the field, and we'd have 3 teams of 2 people each. So kind of where I'm getting with this is I'm going to be posting out all these crazy ideas I have on FEETBALLGame.com/rules. Just, there's there's so many different ways to play this game, and it was hard defining actual rules because every time we played the game, it was something different, and we kind of like at a certain point have to be like, here's a certain standard set of rules, but there's all these other things that we liked doing that are just another way to mix up the game if, you know, you really get into this and you just want to do something different with it.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that I noticed is for a pass, if you're putting down a card for a pass, you either get plus 10 yards or minus 5, and that's like it's a risk reward type of card. But how did you come up with that type of point system in a pass play?
There actually there's two different types. There's it's exactly what you said. It's the risk reward. So, man, and I'm embarrassed for not knowing this. I believe there's 8 run and pass cards each that are just +5, and then another 4 cards that are +10 -5. And I actually cut out cards that were +15 -10 just because it was like a 25-point swing either way. You know, they might come back in later decks, but we did a lot of balancing and stuff like that. So when the game was first made, I played at my dad's house, and it was just awful. And like we weren't gaining any yards. Like, first of all, the cards were way too specific. They were like a run of 11 to 15 yards sort of thing. And there's just like no way you're going to get that. So it got super simplified. So basically, like, a cat can just point to a card, and like then like the cat might outsmart you. Like, that cat might choose pass and you choose run, even though it obviously looks like a run play. So we got it down to that level. So it just kind of came down to that. Then we would like up the points pretty soon. Like, we play for a half of a football game, and the score is like 62 to 60 kind of thing. And we're like, okay, we're getting too many yards. So it was just like a lot of trial and error, and trying to add that risk reward portion to it, but keeping it in a way that, you know, just kind of like made sense. Like, if you played like a full game of FEETBALL to a real NFL game, it's a little higher scoring, so you might score like 50-ish points, but that's kind of like more in the range of what an actual football game is like.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the most interesting part about creating something is that you're going to have trial and error. It's going to be, you got to get your family involved. You have to get friends and family, because
coworkers came in.
Oh yeah. You want
shout
to
out
make
to
sense.
Zach, Kristen, Laura, all those people that helped out.
Yeah, definitely. I hear you 100%. So if someone was wanting to create something like this, what would be, I guess, a suggestion that you would have, or what are some other things that you've learned throughout this process in creating FEETBALL?
Yeah, well, first tip, don't create anything like this, because it's mine now. It's officially trademarked. And I'm working on a couple other sports too, just to try to get an empire going here. But yeah, I would definitely say, you know, and I somehow knew this, but was like trying to talk myself out of it. Like, you're gonna be wrong, and you're probably gonna be really wrong the first go around. So I had kind of mapped everything out. Like, this is the board, this is where the guys are going to go, these are the different cards and the point values. It makes total sense. And like I said, like, we played the game and it was awful. We didn't go anywhere. So, you know, the first tip, like to anything, is just start. So get something down there and just start doing it. Don't invest too much up front. Like, there's lots of things you might think of, like with graphic design sort of stuff I tried to get going. My original concept for the game involved cards that all had like fun graphics on them, where they would have like pop culture sort of reference-y sorts of things, and like it was, you know, it was very visually appealing kind of game. But at such an early stage, you know, maybe in the future that would be good, but right now I'm just trying to make a game that works, that's fun, get it out there. So I actually just picked up a $70 piece of equipment, and I did all this graphic work myself, not being an artist at all, just to make it look appropriate, you know, something that's not on Microsoft Paint. So But that's where it started. It started on poster boards